Hello everyone, Stephen Luke here, and I'm here to show you a collection of my favorite flags from around the world for what I got for Christmas from my grandparents. So, here are the flags I'm about to show you, and I have to brighten things up because last night you all couldn't see some of my posts. So, here are the most my most favorite flags that I ever had. Right here, we have the flag of Switzerland, a sign of neutrality. I like that. White plus symbol, very Swiss. All right. Next one we have here is the flag of the Czech Republic. Originally called Czechoslovakia, but split in 1993, and it's now called Czechia, or the Czech Republic. Next we have is the Mexican flag. I like how it looks. And I've been to Mexico back in 2016 in Cancun. It was pretty nice there, very tropical. And I spoke a little Spanish there, but today my Spanish is a little rusty, so you'll have to forgive me. I live here in Texas, and I've seen some of these flags fly around, and I don't mind at all. Right. Next, we have the flag of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is currently a territory of the United States, and they run American currency there. If you reverse these colors with the stripes being blue and the triangle being red, you get the Cuban flag. When I get my haircut, I have a haircut person that's from Puerto Rico, and he's a professional. Then we have the flag of Colombia. It's not very much I know about Colombia, but no, I don't know that much about Colombia. But if you put that like eel sign somewhere around here, you get the flag of Ecuador. And then right here, we have the flag of Albania. Pretty cool flag too. Red, and you get this thing. If any of you are Albanian, let me know what this is, because I'm not very much into Albanian history, but you just let me know in the comments. All right. What we have here is the original flag of Afghanistan. Right now, Afghanistan is under the control of the Taliban, and a lot of women still living there had to cover themselves up, for which I hate. The United States went to war in Afghanistan after September 11th, 2001, in which Osama bin Laden, the Saudi Arabian who's in charge of Al-Qaeda, was the perpetrator of the attacks and did some of his Al-Qaeda trading camps in Afghanistan. And there was also a civil war back in, a war back in the late 70s and 80s when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. This flag was flown by the Afghan Olympic team back in Paris of 2024. Okay. Oh, I love this one. Next we have is the flag of Australia. Then we have the small Union Jack right here and a couple of stars. When I was a kid, I used to watch The Wiggles and The Upside Down Show, for which I consider my favorite Australian children's shows. Also, I don't want to ruin your opinion, guys, but I'm not a fan of Bluey. So forgive me all if I said that. But this is a wonderful flag. Right here, we have the flag of Armenia. This is actually red, but it's a little bit orangey from the camera right here. I don't know much about Armenia, but I do know there was a genocide on the Armenian people by the Ottoman Empire back in World War I. Anyone who mentions that in Turkey is, I don't know, you pay the penalty, I believe. So I would not recommend mentioning that in Turkey. Next flag we have is the flag of, what was it, Chad or Romania? I think it's the Romanian flag. This, yesterday there was the anniversary of the executions of communist dictator Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife Elena, in which they were executed on Romanian television as a Christmas miracle for the Romanian people who were living under that tyrant for years, and they've been waiting for their freedom to come. Though also Romania was a kingdom during World War II until it was taken over by Ion Antonescu and then was toppled by King Michael's coup in 1944. So I get confused with this flag. It's either the Chad or Romanian flag, but you just let me in the comments below. Here's my favorite. We have the flag of Austria. Yes. I know a bit of Austrian history, but that is where my favorite music composer was. His name is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He was the most famous composer that ever lived in Austria. And there was a couple of known Austrians too. I am not including you-know-who. The other Austrians that I know were Franz Schubert, another music composer, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a bodybuilder, actor, and governor of California, and Niki Lauda, an international Grand Prix driver who was injured during the German Grand Prix of 76, I believe, and later became an airline owner for Lauda Air. Next one we have is the flag of Mongolia. Independence Day is coming up on December the 29th. And if there are Mongolian YouTubers around, be sure to celebrate Independence Day. The next one we have is the flag of Sri Lanka. I like how they designed the flag. Look at it. Though I'm not sure what they all mean, so let me know in the comments below. All right. Next one we have here is the flag of Cyprus. It has the shape of the country Cyprus and these two right here. Back in August, there were on August 14th, 2025, that's when I began my senior year in college. I was commemorating the 20th anniversary of a deadly plane crash that occurred in Greece. It was the crash of Helios Flight 522. It killed all 122 passengers on crew due to a series of human errors on getting the pressurization panel on manual and not turning it back to auto. But they, in Cyprus, they speak Greek there. So it's kind of a good country. The next one we have here is the flag of Jordan. Very nice flag. Jordan has a couple of history. In 1970, they were involved in a war between a group of Arab refugees or so-called Palestinians in the Black September. And not cool, but if you cover this up, you get the so-called Palestinian flag itself. So, but I like the Jordanian flag with this on here. So it's kind of good. All right. Next one we have here is the flag of Vietnam, or the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Yes, we all know there was a war back in 1955 to 1975 when the communist Vietnamese were against the anti-communist Vietnamese. But in 1975, the North Vietnamese defeated South Vietnam and reunified the Vietnamese peninsula. And this is what you got. You know, I like this flag actually. This is kind of memorable. Back in high school, I had a Vietnamese friend who loved to see my Vietnam War book. And he always told me a few things about the war that I didn't know. And that's kind of all I have. All right. Next one we have here is the flag of Italy. Like how the flag looks. Italy has some history. The only thing I know is that there was a person who ruled Italy from 1922 to 1943, and his name was Benito Mussolini, or he was the so-called Il Duce. So, this is the Italian flag. The next flag we have here is the flag of Singapore. There was back in 1942, Singapore fell to the Japanese after the British surrendered, and it was the largest surrender in British history. And also, Singapore had declared itself independent in 1965 after leaving Malaysia, I believe. If there are any Singaporean YouTubers out here, tell me what you know, and I'll be sure to remember it. The next flag we have here is the flag of Yemen. Though I'm not much into the history of Yemen or Houthis or whatever, but there's something strange about this flag. If you turn it upside down, you get the Empire of Germany flag back in 1871 to 1918. I can hear that German anthem in my head when I look at this flag. It's those who still respect the German Empire, I'm proud of you. Never let your spirits go. Long live the Emperor. Okay, let me turn this back and move on. Okay. The next flag we have is the flag of Georgia. Not the state Georgia from where I'm from. I'm talking about the country Georgia. I don't know much about Georgia, but there was a well-known Georgian who ruled Russia as the Soviet Union from 1924, I believe, until his death in 1953. His name was Joseph Stalin, or Yusuf Jugashvili. He was the one who turned Russia into a superpower. He spoke Russian with a heavy Georgian accent, and his left arm was useless after a carriage incident when he was young. And he was a heavy smoker, and he was short, and he didn't like to be short, and he wore special shoes that made him taller. But this flag became the flag of Georgia until like 2004, I believe. And there was an original, Georgian flag that was red, and it had like a black and white square on the top left. So a few years ago, I had a friend who was from Georgia, and he was here in our church for a few weeks or months until he had to move back. I still miss him. He was a good friend. All right. The next flag we have here, forgive me if it's small, we have the flag of Nepal. I don't know much about Nepal, but I believe that's where Hinduism originated. And if it's not, then I must be wrong. So, also there used to be a monarchy there, but things didn't go well since the 2001 massacre. So that's kind of all I know about Nepal. All right. The next flag we have here is the flag of Poland. Poland has had some crazy history back then, and they declared independence on November 11th, 1918, on the day World War I ended. And then they were engaged in a war against the Bolsheviks in the early 20s, and they won. And until World War II, the beginning, they were invaded by Nazi Germany, and Poland remained occupied until 1945. Most of the Poles were Jewish, and there was the one of the former deportation camps you could visit there was the Auschwitz concentration camp, which is very sad. And after World War II, Poland became a communist country and remained so until the end of the Cold War. And then in 2010, Poland lost a very inspirational president by the name of Lech Kaczynski. He and his wife and everyone on board were killed when there were a series of pilot errors, and it crashed into the Smolensk, and they were flying to there to commemorate the Katyn massacre, which was the largest massacre on Poles by Stalin's Soviets. The next flag we have here is the flag of Uruguay. Though Uruguay had already turned 200 on August of 2025, and they speak Spanish there. And there was one Uruguayan song that I couldn't stop thinking about in my head, and I loved listening to it. So if any of you are from Uruguay, let me know of what I need to know about Uruguay. The next flag we have is the flag of Malaysia. This almost reminds me of the American flag, except when this is right here and the stripes are misaligned. I'm not much into Malaysia, but 2014 was a bad reputation for Malaysia. On March 8th, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Boeing 777, disappeared while flying to Beijing, China. it just disappeared without a trace. And for years, investigators kept making up theories, and they were trying to find out where it crashed or where it disappeared, and nothing. Then a few months later, on July 17th, Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, another Boeing 777, was shot down by a Russian missile in Ukraine, killing all 298 passengers and crew on board. In 1993, Malaysia was part of the UN peacekeeping service to help stop a genocide in Somalia. But unfortunately, during the Battle of Mogadishu, it cost the life of one Malaysian soldier. The next flag we have is the flag of Luxembourg. Not much into Luxembourg, I'm afraid, but if any of you know something about Luxembourg, let me know in the comments below. The next flag we have is the flag of Ireland. Ireland is not a bad country, but Ireland has some consequential history, like the IRA blowing up England and perpetrating a lot of terrorist attacks. And back in the 20s, Ireland had a troubled history with England. But there were a few known Irish movie actors that I know. They were Pierce Brosnan, Cillian Murphy, and a few others. The next flag we have here is the flag of Wales. I love this dragon right here. Or I don't know if it's a dragon or not, but let me know in the comments below. I don't know much about Wales, but there are a couple of movie actors that I know who are from Wales. They are Jonathan Pryce, Luke Evans, and the one and only Anthony Hopkins. The next flag I have here is the flag of Scotland. Very nice country, part of the United Kingdom. A couple of movie actors that I know who are Scottish were Sean Connery, Robbie Coltrane, I don't know much, but that's I also know people wear kilts, a couple of traditional clothing, and they love to play their bagpipes. And I can hear them right now in my head. The next flag we have here is the flag of Finland. I love Finland. It's cold. And they used to have a war against the Soviet Union back in '39, the Winter War. It's very much I know. The next flag we have here is the Netherlands. And that is where Operation Market Garden took place back in 1944 during World War II. And last year there was an anti-Semitic attack, and it was very, very barbaric, if I say so myself. But they speak Dutch there, and it's a pretty nice country to visit. The next flag we have here is the flag of Sweden. Pretty nice flag. There are a few movie stars that I know who are from Sweden. They were Maud Adams, Britt Eklund, and can't think of anyone else, but what I can also think of is the Swedish chef from the Muppets. So I know much about Sweden. The next one we have here is the flag of Belgium. Pretty nice flag. They speak 3 languages there. They speak French, German, and Dutch. And the only part I know about Belgium is Brussels. And that is where back in 1914, the German Empire had committed the rape of Belgium, where they sexual assault and murder innocent Belgian civilians. And this was a dark day for Belgium because they were neutral at the time. The next flag we have here, you're not gonna like this, but this is the Ba'athist Syrian flag, or the Syrian Arab Republic. This flag is no longer flying in Syria after an overthrow took place on December 8th, 2024. The Syrian rebels under Bashar al-Shara, Ahmed al-Shara has overthrown the rule of Bashar al-Assad, who escaped to Russia, and removed this flag with a different one. Instead of these 2 stars, they put 3 red ones, and instead of this red one right here, they replaced it with green. So this is the only flag I have on Syria, unfortunately. The last time the Olympic team of Syria flew this flag was in the Paris Olympics in 2024. Oh, and one more thing. Al-Shara is not Syrian, he's from Saudi Arabia. And he was also a former Al-Qaeda terrorist. So, I'm not a fan of him or the Assad regime. Okay. The next flag we have is the flag of Spain. Pretty cool. The Kingdom of Spain still rules Spain today, and it used to be a dictatorship under Francisco Franco back in World War II when there was a Spanish Civil War. And then there was the 1992 Summer Olympics, which was opened by the king, and his son, I think, was the flag bearer for the Spanish team when they entered last in the Parade of the Nations. So, Viva España. Okay. Next flag we have here is the flag of Norway. Pretty nice flag. Very nice. I don't know much about the flag of Norway, but I do know that there was a song in Norwegian called Stanford Brua, which was a modern Norwegian song about the Battle of Stamford Bridge. And it was also invaded by Nazi Germany in World War II along with Denmark, which was not good. And if you switch the colors from this to blue and this to red, you get the Icelandic flag. The next flag we have here is the flag of Jamaica. 1962 was the year it declared independence and the year that the first James Bond film was released, Dr. No. Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, wrote some of his books there. It's a very tropical country to visit. This flag we have here is the flag of the Vatican City. A few months ago, there was a person who became the next pope, or the first American pope, who held both a Peruvian and American citizenship. And it was a change of history. It was also a Catholic country and very holy place to visit. Okay. The next flag we have here is the English flag. Yeah, it's from England. And, a lot of history about England that I cannot explain. Okay. The next flag we have here is the flag of Uganda. They speak English and Swahili. The first I heard of Uganda was the 1976 Entebbe raid. Uganda was under the leader of Idi Amin. And there was an Air France plane that was hijacked by 4 terrorists, and they diverted it to Entebbe, Uganda. The hostages were held for 7 days until the Israel Defense Forces, led by Yonatan Netanyahu, rescued the hostages and killed all the hijackers and 45 Ugandan soldiers. Netanyahu, however, did not survive. So, Idi Amin remained as leader of Uganda until it was overthrown during the Tanzania-Ugandan War in 1979, and then he exiled into Saudi Arabia. The next flag we have here is the flag of Iceland. I don't know much about the history of Iceland, but there was a children's show that was made in this country. It's called Lazy Town, and it used to air on Noggin back in the old years. But what interests me about this is that there was a deleted scene in the Disney anime feature film Atlantis: The Lost Empire, where a group of Icelandic-speaking Vikings were looking for the lost city of Atlantis until their ship was completely destroyed by a Leviathan. The next flag we have here is the flag of Iraq. Iraq had some history. From 1979 to 2003, it was under the leader of Saddam Hussein. And this was not the flag that it looked like at the time when Saddam ruled. When Saddam ruled during the 80s and 90s, there were 3 green stars, and then they spaced it to put these clean Arabic letters. And then until the mid-2000s, they changed it into this one. And as you can see here, it says God is the greatest in Arabic. So, other than Saddam, there was a lot of history back in the old years. And some I don't know what to say about that. In 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait until it was defeated by a coalition force in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. And then in 2003, the United States invaded Iraq because they thought they had weapons of mass destruction, but there weren't any. So they just went to invade it and defeated the Ba'athist Iraq and captured Saddam Hussein and hanged him. So I condemn it. The next flag we have here is the flag of Saudi Arabia. It's a good flag, but some people don't feel comfortable with. It's a kingdom. It's a royal country ruled by the Saudi royal family, and Saudi Arabia helped the coalition allies defeat Saddam Hussein's Iraq during the Cold War. And back in the 80s, during the space shuttle program, there was a Saudi royal prince who became the first Arab, first Muslim, and the first member of a royal family to fly in space. The next flag we have here is the flag of India. India has had some history with being colonized by the British until declaring independence in 1947. There was an inspirational nonviolent leader that I know who's from this country. His name was Mohandas Gandhi, or Mahatma Gandhi. This is a very beautiful flag. Also, India has had some combative relationships with Pakistan. Okay. The next flag we have here is the flag of Cuba. Yes, I know a little history on Cuba. It's a Spanish-speaking country. That is where Guantanamo Bay is, where they hold dangerous people imprisoned. And then there's this Cuban dictator, Fidel Castro. He overthrew Fulgencio Batista in 1959 and ruled Cuba with an iron fist. And then there's this Bay of Pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and lots of stuff. Okay. That is also where the notable guerrilla fighter from Argentina, Che Guevara, was from. But he was then captured by Bolivia and executed. Next we have is the flag of Thailand. I don't know much about Thailand, but it used to be called the Kingdom of Siam. And after being invaded by the Japanese in World War II, it became a member of the Axis. Also, I don't know much, but there was a plane crash in 1992, and it took place in Nepal, and it was a Thai International Airways flight from Thailand. The next flag we have here is the flag of Hungary. It's a pretty nice flag. I do know Franz Liszt, the composer, and Johannes Brahms from Germany. He composed the Hungarian dance, I believe. But if you turn this flag upside down, you get the regular Iranian flag, but without the golden symbol or the Islamic Republic symbol right here. Yes, I hate the current Islamic Republic government, and they make women cover their faces or heads. And 3 years ago when I was in college, I joined a protest for justice on the Kurdish Iranian woman's death at the hands of Iranian police. And we shouted "Women, Life, Freedom," for which women decided to have wanted their freedom, and they want to show their bare heads and beautiful hair. So that's all I know about this. Let me change this back into its normal origination. The next flag we have here is the flag of Canada. Yes, the maple leaf. This flag originated in 1965, and they speak English and French there. Many cartoons from the 90s, 80s, and 2000s were made in this country. Especially, there are some notable voice actors and actresses from Canada, like Tara Strong, who voiced Timmy Turner from The Fairly OddParents, Raven from Teen Titans, Dill Pickles from the Rugrats, Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, and also there was Brian Drummond, Tabitha St. Germain, I don't know much about him, but there was a notable actor from Canada, Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and later reprised his role in future upcoming shows and others, yeah. I also watched, during high school, I've watched a Canadian show by the name of Flashpoint. All right. The next flag we have here is the flag of France. Very nice flag. It used to be a kingdom back in the 1700s, but was overthrown by a revolution by peasants. They executed the king and queen and made this a republic. And then a couple of years, there was a known Frenchman who was born with a Corsican descent, Napoleon Bonaparte, who became famous in 1793 and later coronated himself as emperor in 1804, and defeated in a series of battles in 1814 and exiled to St. Elba, and came back to France and ruled as emperor again until his defeat in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, and was exiled to St. Helena, where he remained as a prisoner to the British until he died in 1821. And then there was French colonization around, and then France was one of the main countries involved in World War I, the trench warfare and everything. Then France was occupied by Nazi Germany during World War II, and then liberated in 1944 with the help of the Allies and the resistance. And then there was a problem with a lot of stuff like the Vietnamese, the Algerians, everything. The next flag we have here is the flag of Denmark. I don't know much about Danish history though, so forgive me. I do know last year in January there was the coronation of the king and queen, I believe. The next flag we have here is the flag of South Africa. South Africa has been through hell a couple of years and was under apartheid. Then there was the South African activist and later the first black president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. And last year, South Africa has had some problems lately. So I pity them. Next flag I have here is the flag of Kuwait. So, rich oil country, invaded by Iraq and occupied until the Operation Desert Storm in 1991. And every year in late February, the Kuwaitis celebrate Kuwait Liberation Day, for which they thank the coalition allies for liberating their country. The next flag we have here is the flag of Peru. Peru is a very good country. There's Machu Picchu, Cusco. And that is, there was one notable president from this country that I know. His name was Alberto Fujimori, who held both Peruvian and Japanese citizenship. He was president during a hostage crisis that occurred in the Japanese embassy in Lima in 1996. It was taken over by 14 terrorists of the Tupac Amaru movement until April 22nd, when it was liberated by Peruvian special forces and all 14 terrorists were killed, and 2 commandos were killed, and 1 hostage. The embassy, however, was demolished. Then Alberto Fujimori became an outlaw. All right. The next flag I have here is the flag of Ukraine. The current president of Ukraine is Vladimir Zelensky, who is a former actor. And I heard about this before. He was in the Ukrainian dub of Paddington, and he voiced Paddington in the Ukraine dub. 3 years ago, a war started between Ukraine and Russia, and no Ukrainian will ever forget February 24th. I was in high school when that happened, and that was the day the Proud Family, Loud and Proud premiered on Disney+. I do know this is supposed to be the sky, and this is supposed to be a field. So, Slava Ukraini. The next country we have here is the flag of Greece. Very historical country. It hosted the very first Summer Olympics back in 1896 and its second one in 2004. Every year when any Olympics, like in summer, winter, or the Paralympic or youth, I don't think it's youth, or Paralympics take place, Greece is always the first to march. But if it takes place in Greece, they would have to wave the Greek flag, but without the team, and then the team would be the last to march. I have tried Greek yogurt before, and some Greek crackers before, and I only know how to count 1 to 5 in Greek. Forgive me if my accent is not correct, but here goes. Anna, Dio, Tria, Tessera, Penti. It's also, when I'm in college, they always held those Greek letters for fraternity and sororities, I believe. We also have a Greek theater. And also one more thing. Gladiators were Roman, not Greek. The next flag we have here is the flag of New Zealand. That is where they filmed the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy. and also a few of the Disney era Power Rangers. And they also had, during the prequel trilogy in Star Wars and the Attack of the Clones, some of the actors and actresses were from this country, especially the actor who played Jango Fett in the Clone Wars and the Clones, and others. I do know New Zealand has had a native tribe, for which I think the Maori, I believe. If you guys know something about the tribe, then let me know. Okay. The next flag we have here is the flag of the Russian Federation. Russia has had some history. Before being the Soviet Union, it used to be a Tsarist kingdom. And during World War I, the Romanov dynasty was overthrown by Bolsheviks, and the Romanov family were slaughtered like pigs. And then Russia became the Soviet Union, created by Vladimir Lenin. And then Russia has had some troubled history during World War II and the Cold War. And then after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, it became Russia when this flag came, but the blue is a little bit lighter than this one I have right now. So also, I'm not a big fan of the government or the President Vladimir Putin. So, but I do have deep respect to the Russian people. Okay. The next flag we have here is the flag of the People's Republic of China. I'm not a fan of the government at all, or its history, but China is currently a communist country under Xi Jinping, for whom I'm not a fan of either. And China had some troubled history when it was ruled by Mao Zedong back in 1949 until his death in 1976. But back, China has had a history of dynasties until 1911 during the Chinese Revolution. And then there was a civil war between the nationalists and the communists. Though I do like the design on this flag, the 4 stars and the one big one right here. The next flag we have here is the flag of Japan. I love this flag too. The rising sun, for which I only know. Japan has lots of history, especially in the old centuries, I believe. And then in World War II, when it became a member of the Axis, and Japan, and later after World War II, Japan became famous for its new technology and everything, especially anime, for which I'm a little fan of, like Pokemon, Beyblade, and others. And Japan is currently ruled by an emperor, for which Japan is no longer an empire, but still. All right. Next flag we have here is the flag of South Korea, the true Korean flag. After being liberated by the Allies, the Koreans celebrated Korean Liberation Day. But in 1950, a war began. The South Koreans were fighting against the so-called North Koreans under Kim Il-sung. And in 1953, the two made a ceasefire through an armistice, and They built a demilitarized zone, and no peace treaty was signed, so the two are currently still at war. Also, South Korea is popular of today for its Netflix hit K-pop, and I'm a little fan of it, but I'm not a fan of how it's animated. I do love the these right here and the Korean yin yang. Very nice. The next flag we have here is the Indonesian flag. I'm not much into Indonesia, I'm afraid. But I do know it's an Islamic country, though not too Islamic though, but very nice country. They speak Indonesian. And that is kind of all I know. The next flag we have here is the flag of the Philippines. And this flag is nice. And the Philippines used to be a territory for the United States before World War II hit. And in 1941, the day after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese invaded the Philippines, and it remained under their control until it was liberated by the Allies in 1945. So that's all I know much about the history of the Philippines, though. And this one is my favorite also. We have the flag of Germany. Yes, I know about the history of Germany. We have the Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, Three Kingdoms, Otto I married an Italian, which created a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire, which had nothing to do with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussians, Habsburgs became Austrians, Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians. Wars, battles, Napoleon comes over and mess everything up, and then finally German nationalism surges, and in 1871 Otto von Bismarck creates the pro-German unified state, and fast forward even more, you get World War I, the monarchy ends, Treaty of Versailles, they lose land, Nazis come in, World War II, Germany is split about 40 years, and then finally you get the Germany you have today. I love Germany, and I do speak German, though a little though, but not very good. So Es liebe Deutschland. This one is also my favorite. We have the flag of Israel. Yes, we have the Star of David. And yes, Israel is currently in a war against Hamas in the Gaza war. And a lot of people around the world condemn Israel and continue to hate it to this day, for which I call them the Islamic Nazis. They always spread misinformation on Israel, and they always make propaganda to play the victim. And Israel was the victim of a terrorist attack that occurred on October 7th, 2023. And Israel has had a history of being a victim of terrorism since its, what's the word? Since its return in 1948. The so-called Palestine is not what it seems. It's actually called Judea and Samaria, and it belongs to Israel, not the Arab settlers and colonizers. So, yes, not only those people hate Israelis, but they also hate people of Jewish ethnicity. And yes, it's currently happening now, but you can't change my opinion, and I can't change yours either. So I speak this to the people who are Israeli or Jewish. Am Yisrael Chai. Forgive me in my throat because I'm not very good at speaking Hebrew. The next flag we have here is the flag of the United Kingdom, or simply called the Union Jack. Yes, this is a beautiful flag, and I can never stop looking how it looks. I just love it. And last but not least, my favorite flag of all, the United States of America, my home country. The stars right here represent the 50 states of the United States, 2 of which, the last of whom, were Alaska and Hawaii. And we declared independence from the British in 1776. And we were also engaged in the 1812 war, the Civil War in the 1860s. And we entered World War I when the Lusitania sank, but we didn't enter until 1917. And during World War II, we remained neutral until the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. And also, the United States has had a history of racism and everything back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then had a couple of changes, like lots of stuff, and especially 9/11 in 2001. As of now, America is a normal country and a very powerful country. So I remain patriotic to my country, and I don't trust anyone except my home country. So that is all my favorite flags I have for you all. And if you like what you see, don't forget to leave a comment down below and subscribe. This is Stu and Luke, and thanks for watching.